Screech by TarynMcT. Read by Oakshadow5. Chapter 17. If you're going to watch this with me, you are legally obligated to scratch my back whenever I want. Understood? Izuku commanded Keigo as he walked in from the patio after flying in. Izuku was currently laying on the floor, wiggling like a dog trying to scratch its own back and being wholly unsuccessful. "Baby bird, have some dignity," Keigo squawked and pulled him up to his feet, turned him around and started scratching. "Tell me where." After Keigo finally got that elusive itch taken care of, the two sat up on the couch where the television was already turned on to the pre-show commercials. "So, Owlet, if I wanted to poach a student for my intern, who do you think I should be watching?" Keigo asked. Izuku thought for a moment. "Ashido and Kaminari would mesh with your personality the best. They're both mean-loving gossips. You'd love them. On the surface, Kirishima would get along with you really well too, but his constant talk about hard work and being manly would get on your nerves pretty quick." Izuku hummed again. "Uraraka would love the opportunity to work with you, but there's really nothing you can offer her except for exposure, so..." He jolted and started scratching his arm, muttering about stupid molting season. "So even if she impresses you, don't send an offer to her." Keigo nodded along and ruffled his hair. "Okay, so I'm mainly watching for Ashido and Kaminari?" Izuku paused on his scratching and tilted his head. No. Now that I'm thinking about it, your styles are too different. You'd get along like a house on fire, but Kaminari should probably be with Hisashi, and Ashido would do best with someone who fights either close combat or mid-range." "Hey, I can fight up close," Keigo defended himself. "Yeah, I know, but that's not your preferred method of fighting," Izuku shrugged. "Oh, it's starting. Shota is supposed to be commentating with Hisashi, so this is going to be amazing." "Guys, gals, and non-binary pals, welcome to the annual UA Sports Festival. I'll be your host today for this fine event. I'm Present Mike. With me in the booth is my co-host, Eraserhead. Say hello, Eraser." "No," came Shota's bland answer. Izuku giggled as Hisashi tried to coax a better greeting out of Shota and failed miserably. "Sometimes I've had it hard to believe those two are in a loving marriage," Keigo joked. Izuku laughed at that. Shota really does act as though he can't stand Hisashi when they're in public, but you should see them when they're relaxing after a long week. Shota is a total cuddlebug, rarely leaves Hisashi's side on the weekends. They are couple's goals. Damn, I wish I had something like that. Same. The two were quiet for a while as the classes were introduced, and then Momo took the stage for the student pledge. "I thought the person who took first place on the index exam did the student pledge," Keigo asked. "This year's first place student is stuck at home molting," Izuku says, smacking Keigo on the arm. "Oh, yeah, what about second place?" "Expelled?" Keigo raised an eyebrow. "Third?" Izuku shrugged. "I'm not sure who third place was, but the class representative is a good choice. Momo won't embarrass the class." Momo's speech finished up, and Midnight announced that the first event was an obstacle course. "Wanna place bets on who's going to win this?" Keigo asked. Izuku shook his head. "I'd bet on Hitoshi no matter what. He's my brother after all." "Then why not bet on him?" Keigo asked as the students started the course. "He's not likely going to win. I wouldn't be surprised if he throws the whole festival. He doesn't want to attract any attention, and Shota's already said he's going to be offering me and Toshi internships, so there's no one for Toshi to impress." The two fell silent for a little while, before Keigo sat up straighter, noticing something on the television. "Oh, who's that?" Keigo asked, pointing to a girl with chin-length silver hair. She was attacking the robots with pieces of scrap metal that she was controlling telekinetically. "She's long range. I could work with that." Izuku shrugged. "She's in 1B, but I'm not too sure what her name is. Yana something, I think." Keigo wrote down on a notebook his observations. "I think I'm going to send her an offer." Izuku shrugged. "Okay." "Who's the kid with the scales? That's pretty cool too." "Why are you asking about so many 1B students? I don't know anything about them," Izuku whined, before trying to scratch his shoulder. "That does look like a good offense-defense quirk, though." Keigo gasped excitedly and started checking Izuku frantically. Zuzu! Zuzu! He's a bird! Who's that? Tell me he's in your class. I need the bird boy!" He scribbled in his notebook, and Izuku could see that he had just written, "Bird boy!" Izuku snorted. "That's Tokoyami Fumikage. The bird head is just a mutation. His quirk isn't bird-related at all. His quirk is a sentient shadow that he calls Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow does usually look like a bird, but I think she only looks like that because Tokoyami has a bird head. She usually purrs and acts more like a cat." "I still want him. Tell him I want him, Keigo insisted. I'm sure he'll notice when he gets your internship offer. Don't care. Tell him anyways. Izuku snorted at that, right before he turned his back to Keigo and started using his arm as a scratching post. I hate molting season, Izuku hissed. By the time the two had tuned back into the event, Shota was freezing a path through a minefield while the other students were setting their minds off in a shower of pink smoke and glitter. Wait, did we miss the middle? I blame you! Izuku hit Keigo on the arm. Oh, hey, it's not my fault! Keigo defended himself. Shota had gotten first place, and his lead was a lot bigger than he had expected it to be, but the 1B girl with the vines for hair came in second place. Shota kept watching the leaderboard, wondering how placed Hitoshi would be, if he even was going to bother with moving on to the next event. A few minutes later, Hitoshi's name came on the leaderboard in 41st place, right in front of Aoyama. And with that, our 42 students that are moving on to the second event have been chosen! Pleasant Mike's voice called out. Shota smiled softly at Hitoshi's offended face as he came up to him. I thought for sure that they would only move on the top 40. Now I have to put in actual effort. You don't have to, love. You can still throw the next match. Hitoshi shook his head. No, I'll throw an event for myself. But you know as well as I do, the second event is always all about teamwork. I don't want to sabotage an entire group just because I don't want to move on. In that case, would you like to be on the same team as me? Shoto asked. Sure. Hitoshi looked around for other people who would make a good team. Pity Izu's not here. He'd be great for our team. Kaminari pranced up to the two and grinned. I heard you say Izu. How is he? Hitoshi smirked. If you join our team for the next event, I'll tell you. He offered, and laughed as Kaminari's face lit up. I'm in. Great. We'll probably need one more. Sure, go see if you can snag Momo. Shoto hummed in agreement and went to find Momo as Hitoshi turned to Kaminari. Izu's miserable. He's molting. Do you know what that is? He asked. I think so, Kaminari hedged. He's losing feathers, right? Yeah, and the process sucks for him more than other avians due to how his wings are retractable. He's got a fever, he's super itchy, and he's moody. He's been wearing like 4 sweaters because he's also cold. Kaminari winced. Would it be okay if I came over to visit? You know, say hi? His cheeks blushed lightly. Oh, you're so precious, Hitoshi muttered. You know Izuku is totally oblivious, right? You're going to have to outright say, hey Izu, I like you, for him to realize that you've been flirting with him for weeks. Kaminari grinned and scratched the back of his head. So I was being as obvious as I thought I was? Oh, yeah, so obvious. Me and Shoto have been trying to clue him in, but he's totally clueless. Hitoshi thought for a moment. I'll ask my dad if he can come over. If he says yes, then I'm going to be expecting you to flat out tell Izu you like him. Kaminari laughed. Alright, I can do that. Shoto came back with Momo just a few moments before midnight and announced the next event. Huh, Izuku muttered. I didn't think Toshi was going to bother with the second event. Keigo looked up at the TV from where he was sketching Izuku's back. So you still don't want to make bets on who's going to win? Nope. He watched the group scatter set up. They have all sorts of mixtures in there, Izuku mumbled, seeing a girl from support mixed with Uraraka, a girl with vines for hair from 1B, and Ida. Keigo got up and wandered into the kitchen. You hungry, Owlet? Izuku hummed as he got up to join Keigo to look for something to either eat or make, keeping an ear open for the cavalry battle. I think we have some chicken in here. Izuku opened the fridge and started looking through the leftovers. Might not be enough for both of us, though. Meh, how about we run out to pick something up? Keigo suggested. You up for a quick outing? Izuku shook his head. If you want to run and grab something, that's cool, but it's cold today, and I already look a mess in my 4 sweaters. Keigo laughed. Are they at least all your sweaters? Izuku grinned. One of them is, the one on the bottom. Then I have one of Toshi's, followed by Sashi's, and finally, this one is Shota's. Keigo just shook his head. I don't feel like leaving you all alone, so how about we just order out? Sure. As Keigo called in an order for delivery, Izuku glanced back at the television to see the places. Toshi's team had lost their 10 million points but were still in first place. It looked as though the other teams were all still fighting over the headband that was on the ground, frozen in a block of ice. Smart, Izuku observed. If I didn't know that Endeavor wanted him, I'd totally offer him an internship, Keigo said. Shoto would rather go with another hero, but no other fire user is willing to stand up against Endeavor, and Sho's already said he's going to intern with a fire user. Toshi's team finished the second event in first place, and the students all took a break for lunch. Conveniently, the food Keigo had ordered arrived about the same time, so they sat on the floor near the patio to eat. Izuku yawned shortly after they had finished eating. Have I mentioned how much I hate this? Come here, baby bird. You can take a nap with me. Keigo huffed out in amusement. Growing feathers takes a lot of energy. Izuku was in such a deep sleep that he hadn't so much as stirred when Keigo tried to wake him up for the 1v1 matches, so Keigo let him sleep through it. The other bird fell asleep right after Shoto defeated Tokoyami for the first place. The two of them didn't wake up until the others had returned home, Keigo blinking awake and Izuku waking with a loud hiss. And that, Shota said to Hitoshi, gesturing to Izuku, is why I said no to Kaminari coming over. Yay, we got a Big Brother Hawks chapter! Him interacting with Izuku is so amazing every time. But anyways guys, I hope you all enjoyed chapter 17 of Screech, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!